Hey everybody. So it's been 90 days and I wanted to give an update on my progress. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of what I've done. So this is gonna be a little bit of a bragging video, but hey, you know what? This video is for me, so and anyone who is interested as well. But I want to do a little bit of a recap on everything for someone who's maybe seen this video for the first time or hasn't been following along my story. So last year, my son, before he was born, was expected to have cancer. We had a C-section and took him to our local children's Tier 4 hospital. They did diagnose him with a sarcoma, so he was born with it. We ended up getting, it's a super rare sarcoma. I think he's the 4th baby to be recorded having it. So it is incredibly rare in a baby. It was an abdomen mass, a large mass. Anyway, we got a connection to someone at St. Jude, and we went to St. Jude back in April and were there for treatment. During that time, I started having blood in my stool. And so while all this crazy stuff was going on, I went to the doctor to get checked out. They said, hey, you know what, you just have hemorrhoids, it's fine. But if you want, we can schedule, we can do a colonoscopy. And I've had digestive issues for a long time. I've had really bad acid reflux, self-diagnosed GERD. And at this time, I had hit my out-of-pocket maximum because between my wife's C-section and Luke, we had completely tapped out our all of our medical expenses. So I was like, you know what, let's just do the works. Let's look at me from both sides, make sure everything's okay. So I had an endoscopy and a colonoscopy planned. And I'm like, yeah, because the doctor was like, yeah, it's just hemorrhoids, you're fine. But if you want, we can do this. So I went ahead and got scheduled. During that time, my son, basically, progressed with his treatment. Things were looking good. His tumor was shrinking. And then I went and had my colonoscopy in June or July. It got moved a few times because it just wasn't the highest priority at the time. But anyway, ended up doing it. And when they did it, they said it wasn't hemorrhoids. It was cancer, which is what I was worried about because I just kept having blood in my stool. When you Google it, everyone says, oh, go get it checked out. And then you find out everyone has hemorrhoids, and I'm like, it's fine. Well, so then I have cancer at the same time as my son, and I wasn't in the biggest hurry to get it treated because my son was supposed to have surgery to get his mass removed. And I don't want to be in recovery while he's doing stuff, and so I wasn't in a big hurry. And then I had one surgeon that I had out there, the first one they referred me to, and I didn't love him. And I read some reviews, and he killed a patient, or his patient died, I should say. And so I was really concerned about the surgery. And I wanted to make sure I had a really good surgeon. So I ended up getting a second opinion with a different surgeon who was super booked, and he ended up not having any surgery available until September. And so I'm like, that's fine, whatever. My son was supposed to have surgery, I think, in August. And so I was like, let's get all that done, and then I'll do mine. Well, in August, my son's cancer progressed, moved to his brain. We thought we had it under control. We didn't. And he ended up passing away August 14th or 15th. I don't know. It was through the night. But anyway, so I ended up not having surgery in Memphis. And obviously during all that time, he was way more priority than me. I was like, I'll figure my stuff out later, whenever that happens. And I have a whole story, a different video, if you want to see the whole story. It's like an hour and a half long. It's on my YouTube channel if anyone wants to hear the whole story of all the craziness with Luke and me and everything. Mostly focused on Luke, who's my son. But this is mostly about me. So anyway, we came back to Arizona because my scheduled surgery was in September, and he passed away before that. So we left and came back to Arizona, which is where I live, and ended up getting a completely different surgeon, which was very, very highly recommended, and I'm really glad I got that surgeon. So I ended up having surgery and while I was in Memphis, I met with oncology and whatnot. And obviously I was very familiar with oncology because of all the stuff I was dealing with my son and, the experts at St. Jude. I learned a lot more about cancer than most people know. And so I was very familiar with all of it and demystifying it quite a bit. But when I met with the oncologist, I was talking about staging and different things. And my one oncologist, I missed an appointment and met with his assistant. And he said, even if it's stage 2, like you're young, we would probably do chemo, even if surgery, fully removed it. And it's a bit on the bubble depending on who you talk to, whether or not they'll do chemo with stage 2. Normally stage 3 and 4, they definitely can recommend it. But stage 2, it's a question mark. Stage 1, they basically never do it. And when I was talking to the oncologist assistant, he was like, yeah, we'll do it. So I'm concerned about that. I obviously know what chemo is. I've seen it with my son. I know all of it. So anyway, I get back, have surgery, and I haven't gotten the staging back because I didn't know, they have to actually, do the pathology after they've removed it. Surgery went well. Got videos about that. You can see that if you're interested. But I was concerned that I was stage 2. That's kind of what I guessed based off just talking to the surgeon and the scans they'd done. And I really didn't want to do chemo if it was stage 2 because from my own perspective, I didn't think the benefits of chemo outweighed the risk. And I was concerned that oncology was going to recommend chemo because of what that other person had recommended, right? So 90-ish days ago, I decided if it's stage 2, I'm not doing chemo until it comes back. That was the decision I made. And if I'm going to not do chemo, well, what am I going to do? Because I'm not going to just do nothing. And so I was doing some research, and there was this one guy named Chris Wark, who had colon cancer in Memphis, back in like 2003 and decided not to do chemo. He actually had stage 3. It was a much worse staging. And he went on a completely plant-based diet, went organic, and he wrote a book about it. And he ended up, he's still alive right now. So the cancer never came back. He didn't die. So my thought was, let's go for prevention. Let's be the healthiest I possibly can be, so that I just don't have to deal with this again. And so I started that process in, 90 days from now, September something, I think, or maybe it was October. I think it was October because I got my surgery in September. I was recovering. I just wasn't ready to do anything. And then I kind of made the decision before meeting with oncology. So I went all the way in, and what that looked like was, to start is an all raw food diet. No animal byproducts, all organic. I started juicing, and I started doing a fruit smoothie every day, and then I was having big salads for dinner, and that was it, right? And I did that for probably about a month. During that month, I met with oncology, found out that it was stage 2, but it was stage 2A. I was expecting it would be a worse staging than that. And ultimately, they are not recommending that I do chemo. The value isn't there. So right now, were just monitoring. I had scans done where so far, there's a blood test. They didn't find any cancer. They did do an MRI, not MRI, a CT, and there was one lymph node that is a little larger than they'd like. And so we're going to do another MRI in March. But anyway, back to the diet. So went crazy. And during that time, I really focused on my health. And here's the results, right? That's the whole point. So I've always been, about a year or so ago, I started walking at 10,000 steps a day. But I really leaned into that. So in the 90 days, I walked 1,023,136 steps, which translates, obviously these are estimates, but translates to 465 miles, or roughly 17.8 marathons. So very proud of the fact that I was able to do that. I also started juicing, and I've been drinking 32 ounces of juice every day, which accounts to 2,880 ounces of juice, or 22 gallons, 22.5 gallons, and estimated to get that amount of juice, I needed to juice 315 pounds of vegetables, which if you juice, you basically get all the nutrition of the vegetables. You miss out on the fiber because you're not doing that part, but all the nutritions of the veggies you're actually consuming, and it goes straight to your body. And then I started also doing that smoothie, which ended up being, I do 3 cups of of berries in the smoothie, which accounts to around 90 pounds of berries on top of that. So what are the end results? Well, I lost 21.3 pounds. My goal weight that I've always tried to achieve as an adult was 155. Never hit it in my adult life that I can remember. I'm not there yet. I'm 162.3 this morning, I think. So I'm close. My GERD is completely gone. Like, I haven't had any acid reflux. I have like a pillow that I sleep on that's raised, and it used to be so bad that if I wasn't sleeping on my right side, I was dealing with it. I can sleep on both sides now. I probably don't even need the pillow anymore. Now, granted, I think it's somewhat diet-based, so if I was to get back on a more regular diet, I likely would still have GERD, which GERD is just like really bad acid reflux and issues like that. So I don't think it's gone, but it's just like completely controlled. Like, I just don't have the problem anymore. It's weird. I had like stretch marks, and when I had my surgery, they marked it off for an ostomy bag, and just in case I needed it, and they got a razor or like a shaver or whatever to shave my chest hair. And when they did that, they hit my stretch marks and ended up cutting them. And I don't really have stretch marks anymore. Like, there's some that I can see that there still were there, but like they're like going away, which is weird because I've had those for so long too. So all in all, I feel probably the healthiest I've ever been as an adult, which is pretty exciting. Hopefully that leads to cancer never coming back. My theory is, cancer is going to do its thing, right? If I'm going to die, I'm going to die feeling the best I've ever felt, looking the best I've ever looked, enjoying the best life I possibly can. And potentially by doing that, I won't die. Like, that's my real plan. But, if it's going to happen, I can give up some things to feel good. A couple other things that I introduced as well was beta-glucan, which was a little bit later, and a protein shake. I will say, now looking back, if I was to do it again, what would I do differently? One, I would do the beta-glucan from get-go. When I started taking that, I started healing faster, it felt like. It's just what happened to me. Like, I noticeably started feeling better. I feel the best that I've ever felt post using it consistently. The other thing that I would do differently is I would more focus on getting protein in there. For that first month, it was all plant-based, all raw, and I wasn't getting a lot of calories because it was all just vegetables, which helped me lose weight, but it also meant I got deficient in protein. And I remember there was a period after around a month and a half where my joints just started hurting for no reason, and it made no sense. And then I started getting this bad cough, like a phlegmy cough. And I think my immune system kind of went down from that. I started doing a protein shake, an organic, plant-based protein shake, and then that seemed to it started to help with the joint stuff, went away. And then after that, taking the beta glucan, I feel actually broke me out of getting healing and getting to the point where I actually feel good. One other thing that I would do differently, I started taking fairly recently, was probiotics. So I feel like because I'm not taking in the cheese and some of the different things, and the fact that my gut was completely cleared for the surgery and I was on antibiotics and things like that, I never really got my gut back to where it needed to be. And so I had gas a lot of the time. So I started taking probiotics, and that seems to have helped. So overall, would absolutely do it again. No regrets. And now what, right? So the thing about cancer is it's kind of just hangs around, right? It's not like you can just, I cut it out, I'm done, right? So I'm still monitoring. But really the big break points for cancer, the biggest break point is 2 years cancer-free. If you hit 2 years cancer-free, you've got a 90% chance that you're done. I already have pretty good odds because it was stage 2. But it's 5 years is when you're generally considered cancer-free, and it's not really even worth the effort to monitor anymore if you've been cancer-free for 5 years. So this is a bit of a long process. What I've decided to do is start a YouTube channel and do weekly updates. 1, to keep me accountable, and 2, to just kind of document my life and have memories made, and document it. So I'm doing that. I'm having fun doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Now it's the post 90 days. What's next? Well, one of the things that I wanted to do during that 90 days, but I didn't do, was a fast. And the reason for the fast, I'll go into a little bit in another video, but basically it gives your body a chance to rebuild some tissues, and I'll dig into that. But I didn't do the fast because it was during the holidays, and I just didn't want to be grumpy and unhappy. I wasn't eating holiday food during the time, but I didn't want to ruin it for everybody else. But now the holidays are done. So starting tomorrow, I am going to start my fast. First day complete will be Friday. I'll do daily updates for that just because that's going to be fun. Well, we'll see if it's fun, but it'll be something to document, mostly to keep me accountable to doing another day. We'll talk about that in that video. But then it's also, okay, well, what does life look like now that I'm past 90 days? Because this whole thing was 90 days, focus, hard in, and then after that you can kind of loosen up a little bit. So post 90 days, I think what that looks like is going to be, 1, keep the habits that I've already built. I'm going to keep juicing. So I'm going to do, 32 ounces of juice every day for at least 2 years, I think is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to do my smoothie, which has a ton of stuff in it. I have a whole video about that. But I'll do the smoothie. So I've got tons of good nutrition coming in every day from that. I'm going to still focus on plant-based for dinners, which is what I do now. But I'm going to open the door for some traditional proteins, some organic chicken, organic, maybe turkey, maybe some fish, eggs, and then maybe some animal byproducts like cheese or butter. I have found that I've kind of cheated a little bit and had a little of those things, and my gut does not take it well because I've been cleansed so far. So I'm going to introduce it very slowly to kind of get it back, but I do want to have other protein sources. There's reasons why those aren't the best, but the best options are those lean proteins. And so those are going to be the ones I introduce back in. Probably what I'll do to start is introduce some organic yogurt into my smoothies as just a way to get my body used to proteins. I'm going to wait till after my fast to do that because it's kind of no reason to mess up things until after that. But that'll be kind of the story going forward. I'm going to do that for 2 years. That'll be kind of the next level up. Maybe, go out to eat here and there with like really, tight focus on what I get. Post 2 years, I think things will get a little bit more normal, and we'll see how long this goes. I'm going to keep updates on everybody with my weekly updates. But I think I'm going to avoid red meat and pork and like fried food for like at least 2 years. Maybe once, maybe like some fried food once or twice in those 2 years, but no red meat, no pork at all. And then post 2 years, I might have a burger again. We'll see. But we got to get cancer free for a while. So that's how I'm doing. Really proud of what I've done, and I feel great. And I'm gonna keep it up, and I'm gonna keep you guys in the loop, and give people ideas of things that they can do. You're stronger than you think you are. If you want to do something, you can do it. So anyway, I know this is a long video, but thanks for watching if you made it this far. And one other shout out to just the community. I got to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which was awesome. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. And next video will be my fasting videos. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.